That's going to lead me into the midterms, but as a preview of my coming attractions, I would say don't count out a deal with President Trump and President Xi. I would not rule out that they will come to some kind of agreement on trade issues. And that's because the midterms were held yesterday. I'd argue that the results, I'm from Washington, I spent my life in Washington, I'm a Washingtonian. I'd argue everybody wins. If I were a Republican or a Democrat, you'd both say winner, right? The Democrats took back the House, narrow majority, a few races still to be decided. They can claim victory. The president, I think, can also claim that his campaigning, his work created a victory for him. The Republicans held on to the Senate, may have even gained a few seats. Some governorships seem up and down, but I think both sides claim victory. That's both good and bad. It means we continue to have a rather polarized Washington. I think that we will see the House of Representatives going forward will be very domestically focused. A lot of inquiries, subpoenas, investigations. They will act as a check on presidential policies they don't like. But my gut instinct, and I could be wrong, of course, is that we won't see a lot of new policy initiatives coming out. That the next 2 years will really be about the Democrats trying in the House to constrain the president, the Republicans trying in the Senate to promote the president's policies. I do think, however, the president, as Danny pointed out, the 2020 race is already on. I think the president, inspired by his campaign barnstorming, will be eager for some big wins. The election is over. He'd like to keep the center stage, sail into January when a new Congress comes in, feeling very strong. For that reason, for Asia, I'd look at two things. One, North Korea. I think the president is still optimistic, upbeat, after his Singapore meetings back when with the North Koreans. And I think he's going to want to see some real progress. So despite today's meetings being canceled and the Secretary of State and our North Korea representative working, I think, quite diligently behind the scenes, I bet you'll see a strong presidential push for a second summit. And if I were, putting money on it, which I wouldn't, I'd say maybe pretty early in the year. The president's going to want to start off strong, hear those echoes of Nobel Peace Prize echoing, and he will go back to saying, look, since he started these talks, there haven't been missile tests. The world is therefore safer, and therefore, how can we move forward? I think he will have strong support from South Korea, where they obviously are very eager to see that move forward. And it'll be interesting to see what he hears from other allies at these coming November meetings, interested in where he's going with North Korea, what he does. But I'd watch that. And the second space I'd watch is China. You'll remember the president started off by welcoming President Xi to Mar-a-Lago, a very warm, personal friendship. Again, it goes back to President Trump's real reliance on that personal relationship he builds and develops. And so I think this upcoming meeting at the end of the month, the midterms are over. He will have heard from farmers, soybean farmers and the like, who are very concerned about trade issues. And so I think the president will want to come out of that saying he's cut a deal. He has solved problems. He is moving forward on this. I could be wrong, but I think he's very much going to want to come out of that meeting announcing a gain, a win, something moving forward. So I would watch those two spaces in the next several months.